Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to this deep dive into ideology versus values. Why am I talking about ideology versus values? Why is there a picture of Sam Wilson here? Well, I want to talk about a big issue I have with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. A lot of people have done videos about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and really they haven't touched on the biggest issues that I have with the show. Really, they're like, oh, it's boring, it's bad, it's badly written. All are true, yes, but there's something more concerning about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that nobody's talking about. And, this is basically me talking about why I don't like the Falcon as the new Captain America, and kind of going through my big issues with it. And it has the big issues with ideology versus values. And obviously, I'm going to take the values team. I'm team values. I like values. And, and I'm going to talk about the problems with ideology. All right. So so this video, I'm going to show the difference between Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson. Okay, Steve Rogers, I believe, has values over ideology, and Sam Wilson has ideology over values. And, I believe everybody has a little bit of both. It depends on which one takes priority in your life. Depends on how you perceive the world and how you, the decisions and choices that you make. So I'm going to talk about the differences between ideology and values. I'm going to show the dangers and flaws of ideology. So when you let ideology govern you, your decision making and the things that you do and the way you talk and everything, there are inherent dangers and flaws. I'm going to talk about that. First, let's talk about ideology. What is ideology? So, ideology, it is a system of ideas that aspire both to explain the world and to change the world. So, this is a definition from the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I believe this, we can all agree that this is what ideology is. And let's go through. How does this apply to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, specifically to Sam Wilson as the new Captain America? There we go. So first, I want to talk about Steve Rogers. This is a good example of the values. So here's Steve Rogers. This is from Captain America Winter Soldier. This is after the Avengers, after the huge attack on New York. Remember the attack on New York? It was devastating. Thousands of aliens come from a portal in the sky and just completely decimate the city. It's awful. It's terrible. It's terrifying. And so this is S.H.I.E.L.D.'s response to that. This is S.H.I.E.L.D. preparing for the next big attack. And this is Captain America, Steve Rogers specifically, his reaction to this response.
These new long-range precision guns can eliminate 1,000.
So we got giant warships with huge guns.
Before he steps outside his spider hole.
There we go. So these giant guns on these giant warships, where there are thousands of guns on these warships, they can sense the terrorist DNA. So basically, the government just needs to collect everybody's DNA, and which is actually what he's promoting. He's like, okay, we need to collect everybody's DNA. He's suggesting it. He's not saying it out loud. Suggesting we need to collect everybody's DNA, load it into our system, and these guns will be able to eliminate anybody we deem hostile. Crazy.
To neutralize a lot of threats before they even happen.
Thought the punishment usually came after the crime.
So here we go. This is value number one. Steve Rogers values due process. That is, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. So if there is somebody bad, we need to bring them in, and then we will let the judiciary system, we will let them, go through the process to determine whether they are guilty or innocent, and their punishment, and so that is, that is a value, and he will not compromise on that value.
We can't afford to wait that long.
But Nick Fury is. He says, no, look, we can't let New York happen again. New York was terrible. We can't let it happen again.
After New York, I convinced the World Security Council we needed a quantum surge in threat analysis. For once, we're way ahead of the curve.
By holding a gun to everyone on Earth and calling it protection.
Here's another value that Steve Rogers has. Steve Rogers, he believes in the golden rule. The golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Steve Rogers, he doesn't want a gun pointed at his head 24/7, trying, making sure that he is, kept in line and making good choices and not being a threat to world security, right? He also doesn't believe that anybody else should have this done to them either. So he is, he treats the world as he treats himself. He believes in these freedoms, and he does not believe this is freedom. And so since he doesn't want this for him, he doesn't want it for anybody. And that is the value that he has. And he will not, it doesn't matter. He cannot be persuaded.
I read those SSR files. Greatest Generation? You guys did some nasty stuff.
Yeah. We compromised. Sometimes in ways that made us not sleep so well. But we did it so that people could be free.
So freedom is another value. He values freedom. And he values freedom over everything else. He even values freedom over safety. So he understands that these warships will prevent something like New York from happening ever again. Like, if these warships existed during the attack on New York would not have been that bad. But he values freedom so much that he's willing to risk the safety of himself and everybody else, so that way everybody can be free. And he really believes that, and he will not, he won't be persuaded.
These new long-range...
Okay, so let's move on to Sam Wilson. And so here's an example of Sam Wilson, the ideology that him and his sister have, to kind of be blinded by reality, facts. And let's take a look at this. This is him in the bank. He's trying to get a loan for his family business.
I always wondered, how do you guys make a living?
So right away, he's at, the banker's asking, how do you make a living? The banker, they're interviewing them for a loan. So the banker wants to know about income and to know if you even qualify or not.
You mean those guys or the guys sitting in front of you trying to get a loan?
Both. I mean, your financials are all over the place. Is there some kind of fund for heroes, or did Stark pay you when he was around?
You see, so he's trying to help him out. He's like, look, I understand you're in a tight situation. Your financials are all over the place. Give me some comfort so I can approve you.
My condolences, by the way.
Thank you, but no, it doesn't really work like that. There's a tremendous amount of goodwill, and because of that, people are inclined to help.
So yeah, this is all, it's another thing that's kind of annoying about the way that Sam Wilson is written for this show. He's kind of, he's arrogant. He doesn't, and also kind of entitled. He's like, look, I'm a hero, so give me some money. Like, it's so stupid.
Which applies to the business.
Right, but you couldn't have been living off of goodwill this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. See, so the banker's like, come on, give me something. I want to help you. I'm a fan.
I don't get what you're going for here. Are you trying to help us or indict us?
He's trying to approve you for this loan. Give him something to go off of.
You have no income over the last 5 years.
How can you have income if you don't exist?
Sarah. I've been gone, like several billion other people. But if you look at our plan, I have government contracts, so that's proof of our...
Here we go. So he's been gone for 5 years. He doesn't understand the new world. Okay, so he's trying to go off of old rules.
That we qualify for an SBA loan.
Under the old terms.
Yeah, so under the old terms, so in the old world, before the blip, yes. But things are different now.
Sure, but these days, with everyone just showing up, well, things tighten up.
So, half of the population, by Sam Wilson's, justification earlier, 4 billion people showed up, okay? And they probably don't have a home anymore, and they need a loan to get their lives started up again. So everybody's trying to get a loan. And so the banks have to be a little bit picky-choosy about who gets loans.
Funny how things always tighten around us.
Oh, tighten around us? What, like you're so important? Like you're more important than everybody else in the world? Like you're not the only people trying to do this. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're black. She's obviously insinuating that because we're black, we can't get this loan.
Whoa, easy there. Look, I'm on your side.
And as I said before, like it was pretty obvious he's on his side. He's a big fan. He knows that Sam Wilson has saved the world multiple times, and so he wants to help out.
After all, he's a hero. Mr. Wilson. Mrs. Wilson.
Ms. I'm a widow.
Ms. Wilson, I know your
Let's go.
family has banked with us for generations.
Your family has banked with us for generations. Okay, that means that your father and your grandfather, at least those two, have banked with these people. They probably could get a loan, okay? Even, this is during civil rights era, pre-civil rights era. Are you saying that this banker is more racist now than the bankers back before the civil rights era? Like, are you kidding me? The things are different now, okay? And it's nothing to do with race.
But we cannot approve you. I'm truly sorry.
Oh.
I knew they weren't gonna help us. It's not their job.
Yeah, they're not gonna help us. Yeah, whatever.
Those people don't even know who Daddy was, and he was a giant.
I've always wondered.
So your dad banked with them and had no problems. Your father had no problems, okay? And also, you are not your dad, okay? So your dad probably would have, probably would have qualified for the loan because your dad ran a thriving business. Under your care, the business has gone down the chute, and so now you do not qualify for a loan. You have no reason to give them comfort that you have qualified for a loan. Jeez. So anyways, that's ideology. Ideology blocks you from
I
reality.
always wondered, how do you?
So, anyways, so basically, we'll get more into ideology, but ideology blocks you from seeing the truth, okay? He's telling you, giving you legit justifications why you don't qualify for the loan, yet you refuse to see it. You're blinded by your ideology, your idea that this man is racist, and so therefore you will not get the loan because you are black. Okay, whatever. Now let's go on to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Who are the bad guys in this? It's the Flag Smashers. Who are the Flag Smashers? The Flag Smashers are a group of radicalized activists. Basically, they want to return life to the way it was during the blip. And so during the blip, we've got, actually, you know what? I'll let Sam Wilson explain to you what happened during the blip, okay? Here's Sam Wilson giving an oversimplified view of what happened during the blip.
She's not wrong.
What do you mean?
For 5 years, people have been welcomed into countries that have kept them out using barbed wire. There were
Yes.
houses and jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Folks
Preach
were
it,
happy to
Sam.
have people around to help them rebuild. It wasn't just one community coming together, it was the entire world coming
Right,
together.
yeah.
And then boom, just like that, it goes right back to the way it used to be.
Okay, so here we go. That's a super oversimplified view, but that's basically what the Flag Smashers are fighting for. During the blip, half the population disappeared. He glanced over that aspect. Half of the population of the Earth disappeared. Okay, that's gonna send the world into crisis. All right, and so obviously, and also it's a unifying thing. Okay, like because the entire world is encompassed in this tragedy, which is half of the population disappearing. Okay, so of course the entire world is going to unite, and so borders open up, people are able to cross over. And of course, especially developed nations have huge job openings. Okay, the economy is crashing because there's no workers, and so yeah, they're gonna open up and let people come in and work. Okay, and then all of a sudden, just like that, things get back to normal. What happened? You didn't explain that either. What happened was everybody came back. 4 billion people came back. Okay? And now there's no place for them. Alright? So because over the 5 years, everybody got used to the way things are. And now, all of a sudden, the population doubled. Like that. Okay? You don't think that's going to complicate things? Okay? It's ridiculous. Okay? But the thing is his ideology leads him to have a super simplistic view that blinds him from seeing the whole picture. Right? And nobody calls him out on it. Yeah,
She's
ridiculous. Okay, so so I got these two pictures. So like, well, why'd you put Sam Wilson next to this girl? Okay, here's the issue. Okay, these are accusations. Okay, but I believe that I can justify them throughout the rest of this. Sam Wilson is privileged. What? He's a black man. How can he be privileged? If you watch the show, you'll see he's super privileged. Okay, he he's all over. Like, everybody loves him. First off, his celebrity status literally gets him out of trouble with the police. Okay, so like the police are coming after him, and then they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, never mind, it's all good. Sorry, Mr. Sam. I had no idea that you were such a big shot." Anyway, so yeah, he's super privileged, and also he's like, telling people, "Oh, don't worry, I've got connections. I can get you out of this mess. I can, because I know people. He says that like 3 times. I know people. Don't worry about it. So yeah, super privileged. Entitled, as we see with the loan. He's like, give me my money. I'm famous. I save worlds. Give me my money. And also arrogant, as we just saw in the previous clip, where he doesn't understand any of this stuff. Okay, now here's the reason. Why is he so arrogant? And he's never faced real racism. Okay, now here's the thing. I wouldn't make this accusation about a real person. Okay, because I don't know about their real life experience. Here's the thing about TV shows, movies, whatever. It's a visual audio experience. It's a visual audio medium. And so because it's visual and audio, if you don't show me or tell me, it didn't happen. Okay? So if you want me to believe that Sam Wilson has experienced racism, number one, show it. So either show it or tell me. Have Sam Wilson tell a story about when he was a kid and he got bullied because he was black, or he was, wasn't able to get into a college because he was black, or whatever, Like, tell me, okay, or show me. But because you didn't tell me or show me, I have to assume that it didn't exist. So I have to assume he has never faced real racism before. Another one is he doesn't understand the impact of the blip. Obviously, as you can see in that previous clip, he doesn't understand the impact of the blip. Okay, and so he has to go off of little snippets of what people are telling him, rather than actually going in and doing the work and the research to find out what happened during the blip and the impact that has on everybody else. We, as the audience, we know because we've watched the other movies. He's been gone for 5 years. He doesn't know. But he talks about it as if he does know. That's the thing. It's one thing to be arrogant. It's another thing to just go around and like preach, about stuff you don't know. He's an activist fighting for stuff he doesn't understand and has no experience in. So that's, what I said. And, but his ideology, keeps him going. And, keeps him from believing that he's wrong. Let's look at this next clip here. This is at the very beginning, before he was taught, how racist everything is. Let's look at this.
Symbols are nothing without the women and men that give them meaning.
There you go, yeah. Preach it, Sam. Of course, Sam doesn't know anything at this point. So, oh yeah, and walk away from the microphone, because I can't hear you.
There's never been a greater symbol.
Whatever.
But it's more about the man who propped it up. And he's gone.
Yeah. So here we go. So now we have Sam Wilson talking about how great this symbol is. And throughout the series, this was the first episode. In the last episode, we'll get, or actually, I think it's anyways, near the end of the series, we have his understanding of this changes. But first, I want to put a little bit of context, okay? We're going to meet a man named Isaiah who has a very unique experience, traumatic experience, okay, which obviously governs his opinion on certain topics. All right, but let's put a little bit of context to his story. So first, let's watch this. This man is Nagels, Dr. Nagels, and he's a scientist working on super serums.
I was brought into Hydra's Winter Soldier program to pick up their work after the 5 failed test subjects in Siberia. When Hydra fell, I was recruited by the CIA. They had blood samples from an American test subject with semi-stable traces of serum.
Okay, so we know that this guy, he is a scientist, and he was hired to create super serum from the blood of a test subject, the American test subject, which we know is Isaiah, Bradley. Now, let's look at and he was also working for Hydra, and also currently he's working for the Power Broker. Okay, so this guy is not a good guy. He's not making the serum for good people. He was making for Hydra, then he was making it for the CIA, and then for Hydra. Or not for Hydra, for the Power Broker. Okay, so he's not a good guy, he's not doing good things, and he's not doing good things with the super serum. And the Power Broker, we know, intends to sell this on the black market to villains to create super armies. Okay, so it's not good. Okay, and that's all just by getting a blood sample from somebody who has the super serum. Now let's look at Isaiah Bradley. He has a very unique experience. He doesn't know any of this happened, but Sam Wilson does. Sam Wilson interrogated Dr. Nagels. He knows all of this. Let's look at what Isaiah Bradley has to say.
You wanted to know what went wrong. A handful of us got shot up with different versions of that serum.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't tell us what it is.
No. Okay, so here we go. Like, now we see, like, you know, it's a bad situation. He did not volunteer. He's not Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers volunteered. Okay, Isaiah Bradley did not volunteer for this. Okay, so right away, it's a bad situation for him to be in.
They tell us it's tetanus. They send us on missions.
Okay.
Even though the others weren't stable. Some of us started dying.
Yeah, so people are dying. So it's a bad situation. He's been unfairly treated.
On a mission. I heard the brass talking about blowing the POW camp to hell to hide the evidence.
Okay, so of course, Isaiah, he doesn't know, he doesn't have the full picture, okay? So of course, he would think that this is, ridiculous. Why would you blow up a POW camp full of your own men? Like, what's going on? But we know that if you just get some blood from a super soldier, then you can recreate it, and you don't want the enemy doing that. Okay? It's a national security issue. And Sam Wilson knows this. He knows this because Nagels told him. Isaiah doesn't know this. He's entitled to his own opinion. It's fine. But Sam Wilson knows this.
But those are my men. My brothers, not evidence. So I bust out of the facility one night.
So he's gonna be a hero, which is fine.
Brought them boys back. Not that it made a damn bit of difference. It wasn't long before it was only me left. And what did I get for saving their lives?
What did you get? Show him what you got. Come on, Isaiah. Now, here's an issue I have with this thing. It's kind of unrelated. It's more of a storytelling thing. He shows this wound. What did I get for being a hero? Boom. What is that? What am I looking at? And he doesn't explain it either. Like, maybe he'll be like, he shows this, and then explains, yeah, these people, they whipped me because I disobeyed orders and blah, 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 But no, he doesn't. Like, what was that? What is that? I don't know what that is.
30 years. They experimented on me.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out why the serum worked.
Yeah. So, here, because we know that, because me as an audience member, I know that Hydra had infiltrated the U.S. government, and so Hydra has been working on it, and also we know that Dr. Nagels was originally working for Hydra, and then for the CIA. So wait, did this Hydra become the CIA? It wouldn't surprise me. But anyways, so we know that, the U.S. government is pretty crappy, and they're doing crappy things to Isaiah Bradley. Is it because he's black? I don't know. Were the other test subjects black? We don't know. He just says there were other test subjects, but he never says that if they were black or not, so we don't know if this is race-based or not. But it doesn't matter. But the thing is, if you don't show me or tell me, I have to assume it doesn't exist. So I have to assume that the entire test was not race-based. He just happened to be black, and and he happened to be the only one to survive and for the serum to work.
We're worried my story might get out. So
Yeah.
they erased me.
Ooh, they erased him. Is it because he's black?
But they've been doing that for 500 years.
Oh, so it was because he's black. Or maybe it's because it's a national security issue and they don't want anybody else getting the super serum. They were thinking of that? No, well, because he doesn't know that. But Sam knows that. Sam knows that it's a national security issue. But the ideology in his head tells him, no, this has to be racist. You know, like, that's the thing. He's never actually experienced racism before. And so he looks at this, like, oh, is this it? Is this the racisms everybody's talking about? I don't know. Oh, but I think it is. Okay, it sounds like maybe it is the racisms because this is a black man telling me. A black man who was oppressed and went through hard things. But really, all of this has nothing to do with Isaiah being black at all. It has to, it's a very unfortunate situation. Isaiah Bradley did not volunteer for this at all. Okay, so Isaiah Bradley, I think, there should be justice for Isaiah Bradley because he's been through a lot. His whole life has been derailed. And he's gone through torture and everything, and not at all out, he didn't choose this lifestyle at all. But Sam Wilson knows better. He knows the truth. But, and Isaiah is entitled to his own opinions, but Sam Wilson knows the truth, but he's ignoring it. Because he wants the racism to be true, because it confirms his ideology. But it's not. And I know, it's like the show wrote this in, and so now, as we go throughout the rest of the show, we see that Sam Wilson is wrong, right? Sam Wilson is wrong. Yeah. So, anyways, let's move on. Okay, so now, Sam Wilson's opinion on the Shield has changed. Okay, before let's check out this clip. Watch.
The legacy of that shield is complicated, to say the least.
No, it's not. Nothing's changed. Okay, he goes from the shield is a symbol of virtue to this thing is icky. Right? Look, nothing has changed. It's the same shield. Nothing has changed. Okay, and like the story of Isaiah Bradley isn't public, and so public opinion of the shield has not changed. Nothing has changed. Okay? So nothing has changed about the origins. He just met one person with a very strong opinion, and he took that opinion as gospel, even though he knows that his opinion is flawed, because Isaiah doesn't know the full truth and the reason why this is all going down. Ridiculous. Okay, so now, Sam Wilson, as we see in the next clip, or the clip after this, that Sam Wilson is defending the Flag Smashers, saying they're not terrorists. Well, let's look at the Flag Smashers.
There were still people in there.
This is the only language these people understand.
Yeah, so we're gonna kill people because that's all they understand. They only understand terror. We're gonna give them terror.
They're not innocent. They're roadblocks in my journey, and I'd kill them again if I had to.
They're gonna keep killing people. Now he's threatening his sister. He's threatening Sam's sister and his children, or his sister's children, Sam's nephews.
And AJ.
Oh, yeah. What? He's threatening them. Maybe terrorizing them?
By the dock.
Oh. Terrorizing.
So we're working with criminals now.
Haven't you heard? We are criminals.
Here we go. Look at this terror. These are, all these people. What is this? Is this terror? Yes, I believe they are causing terror.
Worst case scenario, we kill the hostages.
They're going to kill the hostages to instill terror in people so people know how serious they are so they can stop the vote.
Either way, our message gets out to the world.
Yeah. So they're going to cause terror, kill people, they are, by definition, terrorists. Okay? Now, let's look at Sam Wilson. Here's his justification, his defense.
You did your part in dealing with those terrorists, now we'll do ours.
Are you still going forward with resetting the borders?
Our peacekeeping troops will begin relocating people soon. The terrorists only set us back a bit.
You have to stop calling them terrorists.
So right away we see his ideology is in line with the terrorists. Okay, and we'll see as this keeps going on. So he believes in the terrorist message Maybe he hasn't been radicalized, but he sympathizes with the terrorists.
What else would we call them?
Your peacekeeping troops carrying weapons are forcing millions of people into settlements around the world, right?
Okay.
What do you think those people are going to call you?
Oh, so here we go. So this is the crazy thing. He knows. So all terrorists believe that they are being virtuous. Okay, this is. I don't think there are any terrorists who are just like mustache twirling bad guys who are just like, I'm going to cause trouble for humanity. Ha 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 ha. No, everybody thinks they're being virtuous. Okay, they wouldn't be motivated to put so much effort into everything if they didn't believe in their cause, right? And so here's the GRC is going to use their peacekeeping troops to relocate people, right? So the GRC believes they are being virtuous, and Sam Wilson believes that the Flag Smashers are also being virtuous. He knows this, right? He's like, you think you're being virtuous, but really these people think you're terrorists. Well, you think that the Flag Smashers are virtuous, yet everybody else believes that they are terrorists, right? Like, what's the difference? Sam Wilson knows this, knows that, but he just denies it. He is blinded. He's not able to apply it both ways because his ideology won't let him. Okay, if he had values, he would be able to see this for what it is. But he doesn't have values, or his values are being trumped by his ideology. Let's keep going.
Settlements that happened 5 years ago. Do you think it is fair for governments to have to support them?
Yes.
And the people who
Really? Wow, he answered that fast. No thought. Yes, governments should support all these people. He believes in government intervention. So he believes in government intervention, yet he doesn't believe that the government should do whatever they want.
appeared only to find someone else living in their family home. They just end up
Oh, and then so that's a big truth that just got dumped on him. That, he's been ignoring this whole time because it doesn't align with his ideology. The fact that these people coming back are also being disadvantaged, okay? So it's not just the people who existed during the blip, but the people who disappeared and came back are also being disadvantaged as well right now. He didn't think about that because that doesn't align with his ideology.
Look, I get it, but you have no idea how complicated this situation is.
You know what? You're right. And that's a good thing.
So now he's saying that his ignorance is a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing he doesn't know. Ridiculous.
We finally have a common struggle now. Think about that. For once, all the people who've been begging, and I mean literally begging for
Yeah,
you,
just keep telling us how
feel
stupid you
hard
are.
any given day
How
is.
ignorant.
Now you know.
Oh, it's the same. Now you know. This is the same struggle.
How did
No,
it
it's
feel
not.
to be helpless? Now, if you could remember what it was like to be helpless and face a force so powerful it could erase half the planet, you would know that you're about to have the exact same impact.
Okay, so let's take a step back right now. Okay, this is big, grandstanding. You see this a lot with ideologically driven people. Okay, it's to make these sort of grand comparisons. Okay, let me just tell you, to compare, to say that the GRC has the same amount of power as Thanos with all of the Infinity Stones is kind of an insult to the impact Thanos had on the universe. It's ridiculous.
This isn't about easy decisions, Senator.
You just don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm a
So, also, this has nothing to do with easy decisions. Nobody said anything about easy decisions, right? So this is, he's trying to say it's easy decisions because he only makes easy decisions. It's easy to go along with people who are claiming to be virtuous and go along with your ideology. It's difficult to go against your ideology and embrace the values, right? But he doesn't make tough decisions. He only thinks about easy decisions. So he thinks that the decision to relocate these people is an easy decision for the GRC. It's not an easy decision. You're ridiculous. And then he says, "You don't understand. Watch his, now he's, he knows he's been beaten. Now he's going to pull out the race card."
Black man carrying the stars and stripes. What don't I understand?
Wow. Okay, so here's the thing. So he says that, let's just go on. Let's watch him dig his own grave.
Every time I pick this thing up, I know there are millions of people out there who are going to hate me for it.
Yeah. Okay, so there's millions of people who are going to hate you for it. Can I see some of those people? I want to see 3 people, right? Just show me. I don't need to see millions. Just show me 3. No. You only showed me 1 so far. Only 1. But as we see later on here, we'll see that, Sam is still a liar. Okay, now here's the thing. Remember, film is a visual and audio medium, which means if you don't show me or tell me, it didn't exist. Okay? Watch this.
Even now.
Oh, who's gonna judge you?
I feel it.
Oh, what is it? The eyes?
Stairs, the judgment.
Oh!
And there's nothing I can do.
Look, okay, so here we go. Visual, audio, medium. Show me the judgment. Here's the one man, only one man, the one man who would judge you. One man, right? Well, is he judging? Is he like, I don't know about this. I disagree with this guy. No, this is not disagreeing, right? This is not judgment. This is not hate. Look at him. This is understanding. He understands. Oh, look. So this is the one man who disagrees with you. Now he understands. So there you go. You say millions of people are going to hate you for picking up that shield? No, I don't believe it. Okay? But his ideology is blinding him from the reality that people don't care if he's Captain America or not. Ridiculous.
No blonde hair or blue eyes. The only power I have is that I believe we can do better.
Yeah, okay, here we go. So, now we go back to his full support of a giant government organization.
We can't demand that people step up and we don't meet them halfway. You control the banks. Shit, you can move borders. You can knock down a forest with the email. You can feed 1 million people with a phone call.
Look, okay, so that is a ridiculous amount of power. Steve Rogers would not stand for that. Steve Rogers, his values would not allow him to support a government that has that sort of power. Just a single entity that can do anything they want? No. Steve Rogers would not let that happen because that does not go along with his American values, okay? But Sam Wilson, because as long as this huge, powerful organization aligns itself with his ideology, he will let it exist. He will tolerate it. But Steve Rogers will not tolerate this. Okay? Crazy.
But the question is, who's in the room with you when you're making those decisions? Is it the people you're going to impact? Or is it just more people like you?
So here we go. So what he's saying is their opinions don't matter. Okay? He's like, do whatever you want as long as you do what I want. That's basically what he's saying. If you don't align yourself with my ideology, well then I'm going to cause trouble for you. And yeah, it's basically what he's saying. So he's like, you need to fill your building with people who have the same ideology as me. That's what he's saying.
I mean, this girl died trying to stop you.
That's another big thing of ignorance. She didn't die trying to stop him. She died because she betrayed the power broker, who is actually Sharon Carter, which you empowered, which actually, because of your influence, got her a full pardon, and now she's going to be selling government secrets to evil people to build armies and make money for herself, because of his ignorance. Okay? Ridiculous. This guy is just the worst.
And no one has stopped for 1 second to ask why. You've got to do better, Senator. You've got to step up. Because if you don't, the next Carly will.
Whoa. Big threat. big threat. He says, if you don't do what I want you to do, you will suffer a terrorist attack that is worse than, worse than anything else. Listen.
And you don't want to see 2.0.
Yeah, so this next terrorist attack, worse than being kidnapped, having your life threatened. Kari was going to kill them. Kill them. Kill elected representatives from all over the world. Ridiculous. He supports this. He says, look, if you don't do what I want you to do, if you don't align yourself with my ideology, somebody will come, maybe not me, but somebody will come and they will do something even worse than what was done today, and I won't stop them. That's what he just said. That. Ridiculous. This is the worst Captain America ever.
People believed in her cause so much that they helped her defy the strongest governments in the world.
Yeah. So this group came and radicalized people all over the world. Even the Secret Service that worked for this government organization, sworn to protect these people, right? Kari radicalized them and allowed this terrorist attack to happen. Crazy. And he supports it.
Why do you think that is?
Like, if you had values, you can see the flaw in all of this, right? The flaw, look, terrorist attacks are bad, okay? If you have values, you would know that, and, you won't be swayed. You won't be persuaded that, well, it's bad this time, but not at this time, right? Because that's basically, with ideology, you're like, well, he thinks that, the GRC is bad because they're not doing what he thinks is good, right? And so he's like, well, the big government is bad when they don't align themselves with my ideology. If I disagree with them, big government is bad. But big government is good when they do what I want them to do. So I will support you only if you do what I want you to do. Who elected you? Crazy. You're not even an elected person. And you're out here telling people what they should do? Crazy.
Look, you people have just as much power as an insane god or a misguided teenager. The question you have to ask yourself is, how are you going to use it?
Exactly. Are you going to do what you want to do, or are you going to do what I want you to do? Because if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to come back and kick your butt. That's what he's saying. Ridiculous. Okay? So, let's put this into a real-world context. Okay, so let's talk about the Flag Smashers. What did the Flag Smashers do? They radicalized a large portion of the population. They caused a terrorist attack, which involved breaking into a government building, threatening elected officials to stop a vote. Let's bring this into a real-world situation here. What is this? I'm pretty sure you recognize this picture here. This is obviously the January 6th riot, infamous domestic terrorist attack. It's a recent current event. What did these people do? They're accused of being radicalized, breaking into a government building, threatening elected officials to stop a vote. It's literally the same thing, okay? What would Sam Wilson do? Well, because their cause does not align with his ideology, Sam Wilson would say, you're terrorists, you're bad people, right? But he would say the Flag Smashers, they're not bad people. Maybe they're misguided. They're doing things, that's not how I would have done it, but, their cause is just, because their cause aligns itself with his ideology. He agrees. It's the same ideology that he has. So he agrees with the Flag Smashers. I do not believe Sam Wilson would agree with these people. But here's another one. We'll go back to the discussion we had before between Steve Rogers and Nick Fury about the giant warships, where Steve Rogers, he would not be persuaded. Okay, he says you cannot justify this because it goes against his values. Okay, but I believe that Sam Wilson could be persuaded, right? And actually, so here's so crazy. So, Steve Rogers was not persuaded, which led him to discover that Hydra was behind these warships and was going to be used for world domination, right? And because Steve Rogers was not persuaded, he was able to stop Hydra, right? Sam Wilson, what did he stop? He didn't stop anything, right? Like, he didn't stop the Flag Smashers because, the population has already been radicalized. So it's a movement that will continue on without him. Also, he let Sharon Carter back into the government, back into the Secret Service, into the intelligence agency. He led her back into there with a full pardon. He used his connections because he's an ultra-privileged person. He's able to use his privileges to get her a full pardon, and now she is going to be working against the United States, selling state secrets and weapons to people, to criminals all over the world. That is all because Sam Wilson could not see past his ideology. He could be swayed this way or that way. He's easily manipulated. That's the big thing about ideology. You are easily manipulated as long as whatever it is coincides with your ideology. You could easily be manipulated. Whereas values, you cannot be manipulated. That's about it. That's my argument here. That Sam Wilson is the worst Captain America. He's not my Captain America. Yeah, and it's based on ideology versus values. If you disagree with me, that's okay. I know this could be a touchy subject for a lot of people. This is my personal opinion on this. Please let me know in the comments if you disagree or whatever. If you agree. What other things? Did I miss anything? I don't know. But that's about it. So, that's all.